Bryan and Bradford, thank you so much for taking the time. You have such a tremendous organization that you've been working on, and you're constantly churning out things. Where do you find the inspiration, the energy to keep doing this?
Well, I have to lug around my younger brother all the time, and just imagine how much work that is. So, that's what really, encourages me to work hard every day just to make sure I can keep him, his head above water.
Very appreciated. I'm telling you. I love you for it.
I love it. It's like you didn't know you were on the line, Bryan.
You'll see this throughout the interview. His boundless love knows no perspective, knows no distance. It's always amazing.
Was it easier because you had each other when this diagnosis started to come in?
Well, when we first got diagnosed, what was really interesting is we were, 5 years old, 7 years old, and so we actually didn't have a frame of reference for it. And we took all of our cues, or most of our cues, from our parents. And, they had just a really wonderful, strong mentality that this, yes, was an obstacle, yes, was going to be challenging, but it was not something that it was something that we could absolutely handle and that we had to handle. And that if, to live in the world is to deal with challenge, whether it's an eye disease or whatever, your individual issue may be. And then we were actually a little fortunate because we knew one of the hardest things we were ever going to have to go through was going to be this. And if we could overcome the eye disease, then we could overcome anything. And having an older brother with Stargardt's, with the same condition, it was a great benchmarking tool. Hey, Brad played this sport, I'm going to do it a little bit better. He went to, he took these classes, I'm going to do a little, he got into this school, I'm going to go a little bit further. And it was about taking every flag that he planted and carrying it down the road just a little bit further, which was just awesome to be able to at least compete with somebody who understood your position really well.
Do either of you remember being fully sighted?
We don't. I do remember, I think Bryan does too. Remember, we could see a little bit better. Specifically, I remember reading the back of like a Sweet and Low package, like some sugar package at a restaurant, and how I could actually make out some of those words. That was a while ago, and so I think our vision sort of degenerated fairly quickly over a 5 or 10 year period, and then it's been pretty similar since then.
It's interesting to me that your effort in business ventured close to the tactile. You have said in previous interviews that you really just wanted to find the softest material. And by the way, I think you've done it, having tried on some of your stuff. It would be so easy, I would think, to say it would be an accomplishment just to have a flourishing business, but you went beyond that and you used the profits to donate to research and efforts to help the visually impaired. It's one thing to say, oh, well, it's that's what we should do, but it's another thing to actually do it. Why did you decide that, and how do you continue to do it?
Well, before we thought we were going to be successfyou we were like, 100%, no big deal. We're never going to make any money anyway. So it made it really easy to make that choice. And you know what? Right now, we are living in the middle of a medical revolution, and a lot of it is in the eye. There are diseases that are being cured right now. A kid born with LCA, specific gene mutation, can get one shot and go from blind to sighted, braille to print. And that is a miracle. And there are so many clinical trials out there working on inherited retinal eye disease that it really is no longer a matter of if, but when these diseases will be cured. And the best way we know to accelerate it is to get the smartest people in the world working tirelessly on this, the money they need to actually get their research to a place where the industry can pick it up. So we love focusing on research because it can have just such an exponential impact on so many if and when we get it right.
Yeah, and I have to say my wife warned me not to watch my emotions as I talked with you, and I kind of poo-pooed that, but here I am feeling it. But the one thing I think about too is it's one thing to cure the disease, it's another to fix the damage that was already done. And in your case, do you think that they're going to be able to reverse any of what you have?
Look, Bryan and I have been told about and advancements and breakthrough therapies coming from the time that we were diagnosed. But I would say there's a big difference now. Bryan and I were very close to the Foundation Fighting Blindness. I'm on the board. We're watching all of these therapies. There's, like Bryan said, there's like 40 clinical trials for retinal eye disease right now. As you mentioned, a lot of them for Stargardt's disease are looking at slowing or stopping the progression of the disease. That being said, there are companies that are working using optogenetics, adding photoreceptor capabilities to non-photoreceptor cells in the eye, the ones that aren't damaged. There are companies looking at, believe it or not, full eye transplantation. There are companies that are working on stem cell therapies where you could actually put the stem cells in to replace the damaged cells that have the gene or the mechanism corrected. So, I mean, those are harder to do for sure, but they are coming, and it's very, very exciting to think about.
How do you overcome, and maybe you didn't have this, but I certainly have, the frustration and fear of the unknown? It's so easy to say, oh, live the Zen life, be in the present, but when you actually live in the present, you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I'm like, I could go without this for a day or two. Any advice on how to get through that?
Yeah, I mean, it's degenerative disease is tough because you figure out how to do something today, and then tomorrow your vision's worse and your solution falls apart. And we suffered through that a lot in coming up through education. You could sit in the front of the classroom and see the chalkboard, then you had to stand up and walk next to the chalkboard, and then eventually you couldn't see it at all. And our advice, because we get to talk to a lot of kids and a lot of families, is sometimes living through that uncomfortableness, living through that awkwardness, fighting through that frustration is the best solution. Because once you get through it and you realize that you're strong enough, you're powerful enough, you kick butt enough to actually get through it, it makes doing it the next time a little bit easier. And one thing we always like to remember is that everybody's got their challenges. Everybody has that little voice that's slowing them down that says, maybe not. And, not listening to it sometimes is really the real magic in pushing forward. And you're stronger because of it, because when something else hard comes up in life, you already know you've beaten 75 vision impairment obstacles. How hard could this other thing be?
I love that you're providing a competing voice to that one that exists, as you noted, in the heads of, if not everyone, many people. So now you're getting into the eyewear business, which I think speaks to the spectrum of vision loss. When you see the word blind, you think, total black, but that's not the case. And, I like that this is venturing into that area.
Yeah, it's a very personal thing for Bryan and I. We launched this Two Blind Brothers optical eyewear collection. It'll be in, a nearby optometrist office, hopefully near everybody soon. But it really is about the fact that 30 years ago, we failed an eye exam in an optometrist office. It started this long journey with Stargardt's disease. That journey has had highs and lows. But to be able to come back into those offices 30 years later with a collection that stands for a few things. It stands for the fact that even if you struggle with vision, that's not the end of the story. It could be actually the beginning of the story. It stands for the fact that we can honor these eye health professionals that are actually improving people. Sometimes to improve vision, all you need is a pair of glasses. And why can't, our mission actually have that be part of the solution? Because a pair of glasses lets you see better in school, lets you drive, lets you read that book, lets you see the everyday things. That's a solution for a lot of people. And so it's just a special, people might think, hey, two blind brothers making prescription glasses. There's something a little ironic about that. But it's been actually a beautiful experience, and it's actually going incredibly well, which we're very touched by.
Absolutely. And Bryan, I think another note that's kind of attached to this rollout is the making sure that people are tested in school, and I know Prevent Blindness has done a wonderful job at that, just to make sure that if there are any issues that they're spotted early, because there are some treatments out there for different diseases that can slow this stuff down.
Yeah, it always is shocking to me with somebody who's legally blind. The idea that you could put on a pair of glasses and be able to see perfectly, and people don't, is just like shocking to me. Everybody's guilty. I'm guilty of not going to the dentist often enough, or getting my annual physical, or any of that stuff. So we're all guilty of it. But your eyes are such a precious resource, and if you can get ahead of these things early, your opportunity for saving a lot of vision is so much higher.
Yeah. Any final messages, anything that I missed besides everything that both of you would like to add?
No, I just want to share, a lot of people hear about losing vision and getting scared and what is life going to be with this new challenge. But, I think it's important for everybody to know what our parents told us, which is that life is not about the cards you're dealt. We are all measured by how we play the hand. Your challenges are what reveal all of your potential. This challenge has given us the gift of this project. It's brought us to you today, and sometimes your greatest challenges in life can be your greatest gifts.
All right, Bryan, I'm going to have you talk so I don't break down on camera here.
I'm over here wiping my eyes. That was really well done. I don't like giving Brad credit, but that was pretty. He must have been practicing that in the mirror all night. But yeah, I'm proud of him. No, we're really grateful. We love this community. We love giving back, and we're so hopeful for the future that that 2 5-year-old kids won't be walking to a doctor's office and told, here's a magnifying glass, go learn Braille and prepare to go blind. They will be able to be walked in, and they'll be able to told, at worst, there is hope, and at best, there is a cure. So that's the future we're trying to make real.
Well, thank you both for everything, including this interview.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it.
Yep.